Hey, this is your Uncle Bob. Are you really still thinking about buying a house? Look at the interest rates right now. They're crazy high. Why would you buy right now? Why don't you wait till the interest rates come down? They'll come down. They really will. They'll come down. Listen to your old Uncle Bob. Don't buy a house right now. Interest rates are too crazy. They're too high. It's really going to negatively impact you. So I know. I've lived through it. Been there, seen it. Just listen to your old Uncle Bob. Interest rates are too high.
Hey, good afternoon. This is Doug, realtor here in Utah, with the financial princess herself. This is Angela. She knows all.
I
So,
don't know if I
and
know
we and
everything, but
we
I
are we
sure
are all in
love
her
to find answers.
wheelhouse right now because we're talking about interest rates. Uncle Bob just told us that interest rates are too high and interest rates are going to come down to 0% sometime whenever he thinks, right? Um, let's say no. Let's say Uncle Bob needs to change what he's drinking. I don't know what, however we want to say that. But Angela is going to tell us a little bit about the interest rates and where we're at. But I think the big panic came from just the fact that interest rates they, they look like we're playing shoots and ladders.
They do.
It's like up
It's
and then
up
down,
and down,
but
up
it
and down.
but they don't come down very far. It's like up
Yeah,
and then up and then.
yeah.
So anyway, so what's going on?
So interest rates have, first of all, this is unprecedented. We have never seen interest rates rise from 3% to 7% in less than a year. That has not happened in the last 20 years. So everyone's in shock about how fast and how quickly the feds have been responding to the creep on inflation. But really, this is the result of inflation and keeping those interest rates low for so long. These are the effects. They had to let the interest rates do what they were going to do. So it looks like all the experts that I'm hearing from are saying that, economic we have to know that interest rates, first off, are a rear view mirror. We only get interest rates based on the last 12 months data. So we can't look forward and look at where the economy is currently today. We have to look at what's happening in the past. So as those numbers from the last year, as we all know, inflation over the last year has grown a lot. And the cost of housing for those numbers has also grown a lot in the last year. So, as those numbers start to be calculated into the new interest rate, it looks like it could settle around 5%. That's what the experts are saying. Don't quote me on it. It might happen, it might not happen. There's been all kinds of lots of surprising things. So, nobody has a crystal ball and can look into the future. But the
So we're not
experts that study this are saying that they could be in 5% by May, which is really, 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 really good news.
so we're not taking that to Vegas though.
I wouldn't take it to Vegas, but let's just keep our fingers crossed and just keep praying.
We need to hope.
We need to hope for something, right?
Yeah.
And if it doesn't happen, don't jump off a bridge yet because it's still evening out. It will take time for these interest rates to even out and to find a good settling point. But that will happen hopefully in the next 12 months.
Yeah. So I think the big key there to remember is that interest rates and inflation are tied. They move up and down. So, they talk about,
Yes.
interest rates, right, are at 7% or 6% right now.
Yeah.
So they're 6%. Well, the inflation rate, we're at 8.5%. And so as inflation goes up, so do the interest rates.
Yes.
So
So we want the feds to raise the rates so that inflation doesn't go sky high. We don't want to be Zimbabwe and paying $1 million for a loaf of bread. So that happens. That happens in economies that are in turbulence, and we are seeing a little bit of turbulence in our markets. But hopefully, the feds have intervened enough and with enough force that we can get them back under control, and they'll stay in a reasonable rate.
So with that, let's talk a little.
Where's the best case scenario?
Let's talk a little bit about this. So from a real estate standpoint, there's ways that we're starting to see workarounds to some of this. So we have. I did a mortgage here a month ago. The interest rate was 7.1%, But because we got the seller to contribute funds,
Yes.
we were able to, the interest rate ended up being a 5.9%.
Yes. Seller
So
concessions are a huge thing right now, which is why it's such a good time to buy, even though it seems like Uncle Bob is right that interest rates are higher than they've ever been. The timing can be really perfect for you to negotiate a better price. And that's why you need a good realtor like Doug here.
So yeah, so there's ways to work around. And the other question that we asked earlier a little bit is, what happens if forecasts are wrong? And the 5% that Angela was talking about, what happens if it turns back to the mid 80s where it's 14%?
Yeah.
What happens then?
Yeah. You're going to be so glad you got that 5.5%, 6%, 6.5% rate if rates go even higher.
And that's my point. Just what Angela just said is you would be further ahead to be in a house now at 6% if the interest rates go down.
Yeah.
Refinance the house.
Refinance.
It doesn't hurt.
Yeah, that's easy.
If interest rates go up, then you can just smile at all your friends that are still renting and say, sucks to be you.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Now's a good time. It's a good time now. Like, let's do it now before it gets too crazy because we don't know what's going to happen. So
the other component to that is here the last couple of years with a crazy market from a real estate standpoint, the buyer pool, all the buyers that were there were so many of them that got frustrated that they've just kind of sat and waited.
Yeah.
So it may happen that if all of a sudden we get that little hiccup, the interest rates drop to 5, everybody's going to jump in at once.
Yeah.
Well, now we go back to
that competition will be so fierce. People will be offering all kinds of cash and all kinds of incentives. The earnest money will come back. It will be in full force. So you want to be prepared. You want to be looking now ahead of that curve. You want to do the opposite of what everyone is doing. That's how real wealth is built, is you do the opposite of what everyone else is doing.
And there's some great houses out there. Inventory, it does exist. Back 2 years ago, you got your choice of 3 houses within a 40-mile radius that you could look at.
Yeah.
Today, we've got a better inventory. We'll start to see more inventory come on the market as, at some point it stops snowing here in Utah.
Yeah. We're still getting huge snows even today. So.
Yep, even today.
Yeah.
So get in, get it done, get with Angela, get pre-qualified. Let's find you a house. Let's get you done today rather than later.